Hi, this is John Mayall, and you are listening to Retrospectives with John Broughton on KC Radio 97.7.
Hello?
Oh, hi there, it's John.
Yes, it is.
John, it's John Broughton calling from Melbourne, Australia for our telephone interview.
Okay, fine.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
That's great, that's great. I've got the time right, it is 5 p.m. over there?
Yes.
Beautiful, okay. Look, I'll try not to push your memory too much, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
No problem. Look, just to go back to the beginning, I believe your father was a significant influence in you developing your love of music.
Well, he had a good record collection, so I did hear music when I was growing up, yeah.
Do you think you still would have had the life in music that you have had without that initial influence from him?
Oh, I don't think so. I think I found my own way, so it's pretty hard to pin down that one.
Yeah. I believe you were pretty much a self-taught musician. Were your intent during that time to develop your own style? Was there a point of time where you think you did reach that style?
I don't know. I played the instruments. Yeah, sure, when they were available.
In terms of turning professional, you were something of a late starter. Was there a defining moment when you felt the time was right to make that move?
Well, Alexis Corner and Cyril Davis kind of kicked the whole thing off, so that gave an opportunity for everybody a new generation to start, making a living out of it.
I've heard you say that the blues scene in England in those early days was very much an underground movement. Was it difficult for you in those early days to find like-minded musicians to work with?
Not really. I mean, that's a pretty hard question to answer because, I was a graphic designer, that was my career, so music was just a hobby.
Yeah. Talk about when Eric Clapton joined your band. Did you always have the sense that he was just passing through, that his stay in the band wouldn't be a long-term one?
Well, I had no idea. That you don't. If you hire someone, you don't know where it's going to go. So, I think he developed a good audience, and he decided it was time to move on for him.
That album with Eric, the Beano album, is looked upon as a classic now, and achieved that status a long time ago. Were you disappointed that he pretty much left after that album?
Not really. I mean, I hire musicians for when they're interested in pursuing it. So people were leaving and other people joining. So. You have no control over those things.
Mm. Tell us how Mick Taylor came to the band.
Well, he applied for the job and I hired him. He was a good enough player to take over.
He came to you at a very young age. Did it surprise you, the feeling that he had for the blues at such a young age?
Not really. I mean, there was so much activity in blues players around that time, that it wasn't that much of a surprise, no.
Now, you've carried this title, the Godfather of British Blues, for a long time now. I see it everywhere. Is that a title that sits comfortably with you?
Well, you have no control over what that particular thing. I didn't come up with it, so somebody else did, and whatever, and it seems to have stuck.
Mm. A massive list of albums in your catalogue now. I think we're well over 60, close to 70 albums. I think it is now.
Yeah.
one standout album in your catalogue for me is the Turning Point album, and it really was a turning point in your career. An album recorded without a drummer. Was there a particular inspiration behind the concept of that record?
Well, I just didn't feel. I just wanted to do something different, and Jimmy Jufrey had kind of pioneered that thing and showed that it was possible. You didn't need a drummer, and so I went with that to see how it would work out, and it was very successful, surprisingly.
It certainly was. You've never been afraid to try new things right through your career. Are you someone that perhaps gets a little restless if you're doing the one thing for too long?
No, it's just the way things are. Things when they take place, they're in the natural order of things.
Through your career, looking for musicians to work with, what particular qualities do you look for in a musician to make them one that you'd like to work with?
Well, somebody whose music excites me.
Simple as that.
It's very simple, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to be aware of not choosing musicians who perhaps might be just looking at being in a band with the status of yours as a means of furthering their own career, or is that something you're totally okay with?
Well, I don't know. It's all a very long time ago. I mean, I have that. From the '60s, it seemed like something that I would, become noted for musicians coming and going. But it's quite different in the last couple of decades, or maybe 3 decades, where there've been hardly any changes at all. So if you pick the right musicians and they want to keep playing with you, then it's pretty much a permanent thing, much more than most people.
Talk about your move to America. What inspired that move? Was it pretty much just a fact of wanting to be where the source of the music that inspired you came from?
No, it had nothing to do whatsoever with that. It was just the way of life and the California sunshine, and so it felt like the right place to be.
You're well recognised as a band leader. Do you have a golden rule of being a good band leader?
Not really, as long as you have a great time and working with the people that you get along with, not only musically, but they've got to be friends as well.
Any musicians that you've never had the opportunity to work with that you still would like to, or wish you could have if they're no longer with us? You've worked with so many. Are there any still that you never just got that opportunity?
I can't think of any offhand. I've been asked that question before, but it's not something I've ever really considered. I pick the musicians that I want to work with, and we have fun doing it. The music.
You released your autobiography not too long ago. Was that something you've been wanting to do for a long time?
Yeah, I think it was something that needed to be documented, and I was very happy that there was enough of an audience out there that they wanted to do it. So.
Yeah, there certainly was. How did you find the experience overall? Did it bring closure to certain aspects of your life for you?
Well, it's just very important to me to get it all down in print and before it all disappears. So it's a documentation.
One thing you've been noted for through the years is letting your musicians know what you want, but at the same time letting them have their head to create their own individuality. Has it been important for you to get that balance right through the years?
I suppose so. We have fun playing together, and that's what's the most important thing.
Everybody talks about the bigger name musicians that have been through your band through the years, Clapton's and Mick Taylor and Peter Green. Have there been some lesser known ones that perhaps you felt were worthy of the same type of recognition that never got that recognition?
Well, I mean, those it's so many decades ago, and they keep being mentioned. But it's just the way things were back then. But you know, I've probably got a band that stays together longer than most. So, you know, the band I have now is just fine the way we work together. Carolyn Wonderland's the guitar player, and you know, Greg Arzab and Jay Davenport are the rhythm section. We've been with me for years and years and years.
And that it is your full band that's coming to Australia on this trip?
I imagine so. Yes.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. You keep
I don't think I have any tour dates yet, but I'm looking forward to it always.
You keep a very busy touring schedule at an age where nobody would blame you for wanting to put your feet up and enjoy retirement, but I'm guessing retirement is something of a dirty word for you.
Not really. No. Retirement means that you're going to give up, but I mean, there's no need for me to give up. There's plenty of work out there for me, and there doesn't seem to be any end to that. So it's fine as long as I got all the energy and good health to do a good job. That's the only thing that's important.
Yeah. Do you go on stage with a predetermined set list, or is that just something you just run with on the night?